onto the field here at Northward Stadium, Fort Worth and Minnesota from St. Paul on a chilly evening here in Minnesota alongside Ramos Lynn. I'm Cameron Irvine. It's Fort Worth and Minnesota and another 4K23 exhibition. Good evening, Ramos.
Good evening to you. This is a great stadium. I love the uniforms, and I think we're going to watch some good football tonight.
We are looking forward to this one. Minnesota, like DC a couple of weeks ago, have really, I guess you could say, gone the extra mile in their stadium. You'll see all sorts of, greatness throughout the evening. And we're happy to bring it to you here tonight. Battle of 15s, Marcus Dunhill, Johnny Reno, your quarterbacks tonight. Minnesota wants the football.
Heavy wins for tonight's game, and it's going to be telling in the first opening kickoff to see if they're going to be blowing from face to front to back or cross winds.
Good, Ramos.
No, that could decide the game. Like the winds can be huge.
9-mile-an-hour winds gusting to 18. Amelia Rose kicks it. We're underway from Northwood Stadium. On the return to the 26-yard line is Pinkston, and Johnny Reno gets us started tonight for the first play of the game. This is a beautiful field that Minnesota has with the eyes in one end zone, Minnesota pride in the other. Terrific.
Yeah, and judging by that opening kickoff, the Minnesota Legend are going to have the win against them, so let's see what they do in this opening drive.
Minnesota's in the green helmets and jerseys with the silver pants, white numbers. Fort Worth's in the all-white with blue helmets and the golden trim and numbers. Reno starts the night off with a completion of Colin Hart, who breaks a tackle, is pushed behind the line of scrimmage, and then eventually out of bounds for a 3-yard pickup.
Yeah, and easy completion. Starting the game conservative a little bit here for Minnesota. Fort Worth obviously has a great defense, great secondary, and a really good front line.
Starting lineups at the bottom there for Minnesota. Reno going to start off with another pass. Fort Worth bringing some pressure. Tried to dump it off to Taylor right at the sticks, but some tight coverage will force a 3rd down and 7.
It's really nice to see Minnesota being in an outdoor stadium that's going to do all kinds of, different weather situations in future seasons to come. Some snow, some heavy winds, a lot of cold weather.
It is actually snowing in St. Paul this evening, but the alpha build for weather textures not anywhere near complete, so can't show that to you tonight just yet, but we've got some wind tonight here in about 30 degrees as Johnny Reno going to fight for the first down, but he's nowhere close. Good open field tackle there from Fort Worth, and the Toros force a punt to start the evening.
Yeah, great job by Fort Worth because obviously everything was covered deep. And sometimes when everything is covered deep, that means that quarterback has some room to run, but a great open field one-on-one tackle by Fort Worth, and they get off the field, 3 and out.
Delaney Nash stopped Reno in the midfield. Minnesota with the custom numbers on their jerseys and on their shoulders, along with the custom numbers on their field as well. And they've done a really nice job of their field. You can see the scoreboard on the stadium, and then the play clock and game clock as well. A new texture in there as well that just brings it all to real life. The LED lights looking sharp. Great job to Ethan Muslin, Axel Raven, people that have worked on that part of the mod thus far. 1st and 10 at the 49. It's Marcus Dunhill tossing it out to Jay-Z Bacon. Bacon sheds off Raven before Lovelace comes in for the stop. Brings up 2nd and 8. Fort Worth offense coming up bottom of the screen.
Yeah, and it is very different. First offense for Minnesota, they went for the passing game on the first 3 plays. Fort Worth electing to go with a run, and now 12 personnel. You can go run, you can go pass, a very balanced formation.
2nd and 8 with a single back in the backfield, and Dunhill will fire it down the field and just overshoots his intended receiver, Stephen Hacker, who took a lick at the end of that play. Pass too high will set up 3rd and 8.
And probably for the better that the pass was overthrown. That was double coverage. The safeties were coming into the play, and that had a potential of being intercepted.
Johnson, Raven, Mississippi, Loveless, right. Griffin, Bravo, Meerkat, part of this defense. You'll see the I Love Meerkats banner here in this stadium. That pass is caught. Dunhill on a rollout, fires it across the field to Stephen Hacker coming across, and Fort Worth gets our first move of the chains of the night.
Yeah, really good job by Dunhill on that one, finding the open guy. That was Hacker, and the defensive backs get kind of like, mixed up on that one, and it's a 1st down.
Perfect timing route there from Hacker and Dunhill. I mean, that ball zipped out of Dunhill's hands on his first read. Got a 1st down at the 40. Marcus to throw. Hit from behind and sacked. Minnesota applying some pressure behind Dunhill. That's Angela Meerkat with the first takedown of the quarterback of the evening.
Just the speed rush getting to the outside. The tackle had no chance, and after a pump fake, Marcus Dunhill from the blind side did not see Meerkat.
Second and 15. 7:45 to go in the first quarter. Minnesota went 3 and out on their opening possession. Fort Worth has moved it a little bit, but going backwards. Dunhill trying to get some yardage back and then some. Pass caught by Charlie Baker to pick up 11, 3rd and 4 upcoming.
Yeah, and I've played, obviously we play forward sometimes even twice a season. Charlie Baker, a really good slot receiver. You sometimes concentrate too much on Stephen Hacker, but he's a really reliable target as well.
Dunhill rolling to the right this time, and Dunhill fires middle of the field again to Hacker. 2 receivers run into each other, but Hacker's still able to hold on to the football into Minnesota territory.
Another great job by Marcus Dunhill getting outside of the pocket. It's the 2nd time we see a rollout, this time to his strong side, his right side. Good blocking by the offensive line, and as you said, Bacon was in the area as well, but a good throw and another move of the sticks into Minnesota territory.
Fort Worth on the move early to the Minnesota 38. They have the wind at the back. That is our guesstimation here early on. This will be Baker in motion. Split backs in the backfield for Dunhill. Dunhill to throw. Extra protection. Dunhill fires the outside, caught by Baker. Baker down to the 31, a 7-yard pickup. Wrapped up by Bravo on the outside.
Good reads by Marcus Dunhill. The defense crashed in the inside, so Baker was open on the outside. A 7-yard pickup, getting close to field goal range, and I can only say right now, close. It's at the 31-yard line. Apparently the wind is on their back, so it should be good for a field goal, but they want more than that.
Flip out to Bacon across the formation. He's got a 1st down, a whole lot more, a bunch of blocks, 15, 10. Bacon down to the 7-yard line. Really good seals on the opposite side of that play. And Fort Worth's got a 1st and goal. What a run.
You need to have a very good offensive line to make those kinds of plays because the running back has to go all across the formation. Great job by Aaron Alexander as well with a block. Those plays are very tricky because if you get any penetration from the defensive end or the defensive tackle on the left side, that could be for a 5 or 6 yard loss.
Robert Garrett Jr. with a nice block as well, so that'll bring up 1st and goal with the 7 for Dunhill. Heavy blitz from Minnesota, and Dunhill avoids a sack and then gets brought down to the 13-yard line. Man, they were coming at him with force. Buster Johnson eventually brings him down. Dunhill almost got out of that one.
And as good as Fort Worth's offense has been here on this drive, really impressed with the job of the defensive ends rushing on the outside. The defensive end did not make the sack, did not make the takedown, but was able to put pressure on Dunhill, and then the sack eventually came from the inside.
2nd sack of the drive for Minnesota. Hasn't stopped Fort Worth yet. 2nd and goal with the 11. 3rd roll out of the drive for Dunhill. Dunhill fires to the end zone. Pass tipped up in the air and incomplete. Getting an initial hand on that, I think, was Cody Griffin. Let's take another look at it.
It's actually number 26. That's Shepard with the deflection. And then, third time was the one for Minnesota, able to stop that one. It's going to be third and a long 11.
That's that fatigue coming into play, right, Ramos? A backup coming in there to make a crucial stop in the red zone on a long drive. Third down and goal at the 11-yard line. 4 wide for Fort Worth. Dunhill going to roll again out to his right. Dunhill fires it short, and that wasn't going much anywhere anyway. So pretty creative play calling outside of the pocket for Fort Worth on the opening drive, but it's going to end in a field goal.
And I like it too. Of course, Fort Worth has been sacked a couple times in the opening drive, so just move the quarterback out of the pocket, try to find some space and some time. And field goal on your first possession is nothing. It's not bad at all.
Look at the eyes on the wall here at Northwood Stadium. The Viva La France sign as well. High snap, and that wind is blowing that football a little to the right, but that kick is good. 12-play, 59-yard, 3-minute, 51-second drive for Fort Worth after getting the initial punt stop.
Yeah, you cannot ask for much more out of your first drive as a visiting team, to be honest. You moved the ball the length of the field, took some time off the clock, and you came away with some points. The defense played really well in the first possession, and it's imperative for Minnesota to at least be able to move the chains a little bit to give the defense a break.
Minnesota really the first as this return will get out past the 30. Spin move, breaks a tackle. Really nice field position coming up at the 37-yard line thanks to Pinkston. I believe Quaig Mam is also back there returning kicks, but both kicks have been angled left to Pinkston. But first time we're seeing all the awesome banners on sidewalls. Minnesota has gone above and beyond with all that, and it really does add just that extra element to the stadium.
Right, and even Damon Simeon, shout out to him on the chat, said, it's hard to tell which NFL stadium it is because you really cannot tell.
First and 10 at the 37-yard line, 5:06 to go in the first quarter. 2 backs and 2 receivers. Reno to throw. Reno dumps it off over the middle of the field. That's caught by France. Pickup of 6. And just a short little flip of the wrist from Reno picks up more than half of what they need.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's been 4 plays for Minnesota, all of them passing plays. Reno did scramble for a first, close to a first. But looks like this may be a run from the power I.
No, they are going to throw, and it's Reno again, and that's caught again. That's France again for a first down. So Reno and the legend have come out slinging it. Colin Hart and Chris Komisak in the talented backfield.
Yeah, really good job by France using his body to shield the defender, and it's just a quick stop route, enough to move the chains, and it's really hard. It's like trying to stop a center in basketball off a rebound.
2 backs, 2 receivers here for Reno. He's going to throw again. That pass is caught. Coming back to it was Buchanan Simons for a 4-yard pickup. Staying ahead of the sticks. Second down and 6.
Yeah, but this is exactly what Minnesota has to do. Just keep themselves ahead of the sticks, getting past midfield, and get your offense a chance to put some points on the board.
Reno facing a blitz. It's all picked up, and Komisak drags a defender all the way past the first down line. That was Regier trying to make the stop. Komisak too strong.
Yeah, we're seeing kind of like a West Coast style offense. A lot of short passes, which effectively work as runs. Using Komisak out of the backfield. In the previous drive, we saw Colin Hart on the very first play of the game. Just use 3-4 yard passes and make the receivers get some yards after the catch.
Reno changing the play again. It has been a pass on every play for Minnesota's offense outside of Reno's scramble. Reno going to throw again. Reno outside, finds Colin Hart, spins away, breaks a tackle. Hart down the sideline, gets shoved down at the 21-yard line after a 9-yard gain. Eventually, that was Ben Stone coming over to make the tackle.
Yeah, but again, it's basically a long handoff to Colin Hart. It is officially a reception in the stat sheet, but it's almost a long handoff, good for 9 on the play.
Minnesota responding to Fort Worth's 12-play scoring drive with a good drive of their own to the 30-yard line. Heavy look. France is off the line along with Bacigalupi. Inside to the right of Reno. Totally imbalanced line on that side of the field. They're going to hand it off to Hart opposite way, and that is short of a first down. Adam Leach comes over to make the stop at corner.
And maybe that's why the first 7 or 8 plays were passes probably. This forward defense very good stopping the run. 3rd and inches. Let's see if they try to run it again and try to get the other half a yard.
Comisac offset. Going to send Bacigalupi in motion from right to left. Reno hands it off to Hart. Easy peasy. First down to the 25-yard line. And that keeps the Minnesota drive moving.
Yeah, and that kind of movement, that kind of motion just creates confusion in the defense, because now you have kind of a unbalanced line. The fullback is on the right, the tight end is on the left. So you really don't know if it's going to be really a dive or a stretch or a counter play even, and good for a first down.
Split backs here for Minnesota. They're really mixing it up. 3-4 defense, Fort Worth. Reno's scrambling around. That pass is incomplete, and Simons just got nailed. Nice sleeves on Simons. I don't know if you saw that. Those were some awesome green and black sleeves, 2nd and 10. Didn't help make the catch, though.
No, it did not, but probably prevented a grass rash here in the kind of, what is it? Like, is it artificial turf or is it actual grass? Hard
No, it's
to tell.
grass. You see it's scuffing around the
Oh, yeah,
30
there
there.
you go. There you go. Yes.
2nd and 10. Good enunciation on grass rash as well. I like that.
Yeah.
The pass is incomplete. Reno kind of let that one sail on him. So Minnesota faced with a 3rd and 10 for the first time today.
Yeah. I mean, every situation for Minnesota apparently has been a passing situation, but this one more than the others. 3rd down and 10 yards to go. It's time for forward to, put some pressure on the quarterback. Minnesota has done it to Dunhill. Let's see if Reno can get some pressure as well.
Dime 3-2 for Fort Worth. We'll see what they do here. They're sneaking the linebacker up to blitz. Hart goes out into the pass pattern. So now empty 5 wide here. Now Hart comes back to block, and that pass is caught but short of the sticks by Adam Banks. And Fort Worth brought the pressure from the other side, and Hart was left in no man's land. It'll be a field goal.
It will be a field goal, but it's a successful drive for Minnesota. Be able to respond to Fort Worth's scoring position with one of their own.
35-yard kick from Malello. He curves it in. What a kick from Mickey. 11-play, 44-yard drive. You can really see the win there.
Almost a trick shot. Great job by Malillo.
Wow.
Targeting one of the boards, perhaps the night board, and it will just kind of circle back to the goalposts. It reminded me of one of those, like Roberto Carlos of Brazil in soccer,
yeah,
in European football. One of those free kicks, and it would just curve to the goal. It was pretty much that.
That kick only getting to the 9-yard line. Baker on the return gets up to the 30. So you can definitely tell that the wind is coming into the stadium off of this end zone.
Yes, absolutely.
3 wide receiver set for Fort Worth, 2 to the right. Nickel look for Minnesota. 3-3 ball game in the first. 2 of the 3 drives have been scoring drives. Dunhill checks that one off to Aaron Alexander, who shoves over a defender and picks up 4 yards. Alexander, mean.
And again, we go back to this Fort Worth kind of style of offense. This time, Dunhill in the pocket. We've been able to see Dunhill go outside of the pocket, but a good check down to Alexander for a 4-yard gain.
Dunhill fires, caught in some traffic for another 4-yard pickup. That is Mitchell with the catch. We'll set up a 3rd down and 2.
Really stretching out for that one. That pass was just a tiny little bit high. If a linebacker was in the area, that was probably a hospital pass. But good for a gain of 4, and it's now 3rd and 2. You can do a lot of things from this situation.
Dunhill, 3rd and short. Again, short over the middle, but that pass is incomplete. Meerkat on the coverage. I saw Sudo Nakai's comment earlier in the chat. He was asking about the light part in the bench area. I'm pretty sure that would be customizable, but you'd have to check on that texture. I don't know that we've gotten to that point of our Alpha exhibition. And Skippy with the $4.99 super chat. These exhibitions are hot. We agree.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Oh!
Almost a kick-catch interference there, and Mam able to field at the 27. Mam also rocking those awesome sleeves. That was crazy, almost a collision. Here it is
Did
again.
not ask for the third catch, to be honest. And number 22 just, he was like probably arrived, a second early. If he timed that perfectly, that could have been an absolute crushing hit.
He didn't want to hit him and get a penalty, and
For sure.
he wasn't quite sure what to do there. But yeah, dangerous. Quaig, a risk taker. Two backs, two receivers. Reno drops to throw. Reno is sacked. I mean, right in the mouth. Big sack from Lang for a loss of 7.
First time we see this forward defense really put pressure on Reno. As we're going to take a look at this replay. It was a blitz and just a quick kind of like club move, hump move, and getting to the quarterback.
Lamar actually on the stop. That ends the first quarter of play. Get to see the excellent uniforms of these cheerleaders in the long pants. It's chilly here tonight, 30 degrees. We're all tied at 3, end of the first quarter.
Really good first quarter. We saw both offenses being able to move the ball up and down the field, but eventually the defense settled down, and it's only 3-3.
4th possession of the ball game. Two backs, two receivers. Going to see some motion. Adam Banks goes in motion. Will slide inside in the slot. Reno to throw. Reno escapes a little bit to his right, and Taylor just could not come up with the football. 3rd and long coming up, and Minnesota's offense just a touch clunky.
Yeah, good throw by Reno, but it was tight coverage. The receiver couldn't come away with that one. And now we'll have 4 wide receivers. Let's see if they split hard wide as well. Not this time.
Bringing a blitz is Fort Worth from the slot, and that pass is caught by Banks in a foot race and wrestled down to the 41-yard line. Fort Worth's defense shifting all around. There's some fans and there's some Daniel Wright shirts and all kinds of things back there.
Wide open receiver. The safety it probably wasn't his responsibility, but either way, kind of a busted coverage on that one, and a great job by Minnesota getting out of a hole from 3rd and 17 all the way to Fort Worth side of the field.
Just love the recognition by Reno. You got an open receiver streaking down the field. He's able to hit him. That pass out of the backfield to Comisac, and this time Comisac only able to push Regier, or check that, E.K. Vinson for a 2-yard pickup. Fort Worth starting to bring some heat on Reno if they're going to be passing this whole game.
Yes, for sure. It's going to be interesting to see if Minnesota tries to sprinkle in a little bit of running, because I don't think Fort Worth is going to be 100% ready for it.
Taylor goes across the formation. 3-4 look again from Fort Worth's defense. And Reno's got a great pocket, and that pass is caught by Simons. 1st and 10 down around the 20-yard line.
Great pocket presence and great protection given to the quarterback as the defense is loving it. It's not max protect, but the fullback stood there just to make sure the quarterback was clean in the pocket, and a laser to Simons for another 1st down up to the 20-yard line, and a drive that seemed pretty much dead in the water now gets into the red zone.
3rd and 17 is what it was, wasn't it, Ramos? And they got the bomb to Banks, got behind Davis. Reno checks it down. Banks with a 3-yard pickup.
Yeah, and I really like how Reno is managing this drive. It's been a couple of deep shots, but also some dinking and dunking, making themselves go ahead of the stick. 2nd and 7 coming up, and at this pace, Reno's going to probably have about 45 passing attempts.
Reno going to throw again. And Reno's pass is incomplete. Man, Jay Taylor's had some really difficult receptions here tonight, or lack thereof. Brings up 3rd down.
Mm-hmm. Kind of going to the ground for that one, and that's the quarterback trying to also protect the wide receiver. If that pass is high, the linebacker could absolutely destroy him. So that's also to protect the receiver a little bit.
3rd and 7, Reno again. Reno's pass caught by Simons. 1st and goal to the 5-yard line. And Buchanan Simons has had a little bit more success tonight than Taylor so far.
Yeah, and they came with a blitz, and when the blitz does not get to the quarterback, that's what happens. You have some open spaces, and that's a beautiful job by Reno throwing the ball between the flat zone of one defender and the deep third of the other defender, right there on that window for a 1st and goal.
Ball's on the 4. Reno 12 of 17 in the first half. That pass is incomplete. Knocked down by Duffy. He saves a touchdown. Fort Worth's defensive front in testing today has been super active up front.
Yeah. It's a great job. If you cannot get to the quarterback, at least put your hands up and see if you can deflect it. Now it's going to be 2nd down and goal. I think it's a good opportunity to sprinkle one of those runs, at least to get you in a 3rd and shorter situation.
Comisac is the fullback. He's lined up on the line inside France, and the toss goes to that direction, and Colin Hart walks in. France and Hart lead the convoy. We have our first touchdown of the night. The fans are pumped.
Yeah, they are. And again, and we said it, it's whenever the run comes, whenever they sprinkle that run, the defense is not going to be ready for it. And they look a little bit tired on that one, Cam. They've been rushing for the better part of this first half. And once the toss comes in, it's really hard to go sideline to sideline in that situation.
So Minnesota's offense stringing a couple of good possessions together. Malillo, who curved in a field goal earlier, knocks in this extra point. A 10-play, 73-yard drive. Featured a 3rd and 17 conversion. 2 minutes, 46 seconds. Colin waves high to the camera, and Minnesota's up a touchdown. You see in the background the First National Bank of St. Paul, the very visible red first in the St. Paul skyline. It's here tonight as well, just outside of Northwood Stadium here in downtown St. Paul, Minnesota. Stevens on the return up to the 33.
Obviously Fort Worth with plenty of time. They have pretty much the entire 2nd quarter still. Minnesota has put 10 points unanswered on the board. And it's imperative for Fort Worth to be able to at least try to get in field goal range and keep this game close.
1st and 10 at the 33. 3 wide receivers for Dunhill. Starts the drive. Alexander's offset to the left of J.Z. Bacon, and Baker goes in motion. Zone coverage for Minnesota, 3-2 defense here on 1st down, and a toss play out to Bacon, and Bacon is quickly swallowed up. Minnesota was all over that defensively, wrapped up by a couple of legend players, including Mississippi.
Yeah, and we saw that work first with, kind of motion, and they went to the opposite side, kind of confusing the defense, but that time Minnesota was ready for it and able to make the tackle for no gain.
2nd down and 10, 7 minutes to go. Minnesota's defense now the one shifting. Hacker's going in motion across, and Bravo's going to follow him over there. Dunhill going to roll left. He's in trouble, then throws back across his body, just in a mad scramble drill. Minnesota brought pressure from that side, totally blew up the timing of that play.
Yeah, and this is what we really haven't seen in this game. Now, it's been actually, Fort Worth who has tried those rollout plays for success for most part, but now Minnesota making some adjustments.
Third down and 10, 6:50 to go in the first half. Dunhill rolls, and Dunhill fires into quadruple coverage. Bad read from Dunhill. The drive's blown up, and Fort Worth's going to have to punt it away.
Yeah, and you see now Minnesota really clamping down on defense and getting the momentum of this game. They should have pretty decent field position with the wind. Let's see if Quag Bam decides to call for a fair catch this time.
Fort Worth's offense starting to struggle a little bit as Mam will step up to his 35-yard line, break a tackle past the 45, and gets all the way up near midfield. Excellent field position for Minnesota. They flip it on the Toros, so they got all the momentum now.
They do. And good space. Fort Worth kind of not knowing what to do a little bit, but a great job by Quagman getting the ball all the way to the 49-yard line as Minnesota really getting some balance. You know, it's not, you know, it's only about 2-3 runs, but that rushing touchdown really puts Fort Worth in a situation where they have to think of the run for this drive.
Split backs, Reno going to change the play. 3 D linemen for Fort Worth, and they are split real wide. Taylor's going to go in motion. He's got 5 on the play clock. Just gets set, and they get it off. Reno, good protection. Reno checks it down. Simons, another 3-yard pickup with forward progress.
Yeah, and they're dialing some linebacker blitzes and everything, but with 3 defensive linemen and just a linebacker, this Minnesota offensive line is doing a really good job giving the quarterback enough time to throw. Now, it's not for big gains, but it does keep the offense ahead of the sticks.
Crowding the line of scrimmage, couple linebackers for Fort Worth. They're off that right side. And they bring 6, and Reno dumps it off. Really great coverage by Aiden Davis.
Yeah.
And poor Jay Taylor, again, is smacked trying to make a catch.
I really like the decision-making by Hart as well. You know, the linebackers came with a blitz. So you know it's one-on-one, corner against receiver, but a better job by Davis making the pass deflection.
We've seen both teams go single back 4 wide on 3rd and long a lot tonight here in the first half. Reno now has 3 to the right, and Reno pump fakes. Reno is sacked. Nobody open a coverage sack. Jeff Duffy gets home, and Fort Worth's defense gets a critical stop.
Yeah, that they do. Duffy with a swim move and just rushes free to the quarterback. Reno just didn't see him at all. Nothing open downfield, and it's 4th and 12. A massive stop for the Toros defense.
Minnesota riding that momentum in great field position. Man, they really needed that. They'll punt it away. Booming kick. Stevens to the 16-yard line. Check that, Baker. Returns it up to the 19. And the Toros have some work to do.
Yeah, they do. They have to find some rhythm on offense. You know, the first drive for Fort Worth was, you know, very good. Some rollout passes, some, you know, really clever play calling. But it seems that Minnesota has caught up to that. And so they need to mix it up a little bit.
First down to the 19. Linebackers, Mississippi and Ravens showing pressure on the outside. And they stay in the flats, and Raven buries Bacon for a loss of 2. Minnesota winning the mind games category.
Yeah, the green 47 beats the white 47 on that one. 2nd down and 12. And really Minnesota just being aggressive over the last couple of drives, making some tackles for a loss.
Dunhill changing the play. Straight back, then buys a little bit more time, and that pass also incomplete. Looking for Hacker. Raven is out there again. So another 3rd and long coming up. Just 0 offensive energy out of Fort Worth here in the second quarter.
Yeah, and just not a lot going on. Looks like they will have 4 wide receivers in this formation. Again, with the single back, you mentioned it. They've ran a lot of that on 3rd and long.
Hasn't really been effective so far in the first half And Dunhill rolling again outside. Fire tipped up in the air and incomplete. Minnesota's all over this. Fort Worth definitely needs to adjust coming out of the locker room in the second half and just kind of needs to hold on at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, right now is just making another stop on defense and hopefully for them just go to halftime with a 7-point deficit instead of a double possession deficit.
Minnesota's winning third down, but they're winning first down too tonight, making things very difficult. There's a fair catch from Quigg. And Minnesota's right back where they started, their own 49-yard line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, really liking what Minnesota's doing on defense. They have all the gaps sealed up. They were able to adjust to the rollout pass, get the safeties rotating, and it's really working to their benefit. Ever since that first drive, really the rollout passes haven't worked.
If you bought a ticket on the right side of the stadium, you may want your money back. We have been on this side of the stadium for much of this first half. As Reno's in some trouble, he's going to escape and scramble, and Johnny Reno going to put his shoulder down and pick up 7 yards. Nice run from Johnny to set up 2nd and 3. That's the difference in this first half. Minnesota staying ahead of the sticks.
Yeah, and the protection that they're giving Johnny Reno has actually been pretty good here in the second quarter. Jeff Duffy did get to him, but for the most part, he's been pretty clean.
Handoff, Colin Hart. Hart's got a first down inside the 40 and down to the 36-yard line. So the running game for Minnesota starting to get moving.
Yeah, and because the defense is just not thinking about the run at this point. It's past to set up the run. Great blocking up front by everybody. Comisac actually doesn't have anybody to block, and that's when you know the blocking is actually pretty strong. And Minnesota can milk this clock a little bit, score some points, and pretty much left Fort Worth with no time to come back.
4 carries, 16 yards for Hart in the first half. Has the game's lone touchdown. Reno changing the play at the line. Back to pass, 3-step drop, scrambles around, shuffles the feet, and it's caught. France caught it for a 9-yard pickup. I thought there at first it was intercepted.
Yeah, it was a laser by Reno and a good job by France, staying with the play. Obviously, the move to the pocket was to the opposite side, but a good job of awareness, staying on the play and making the catch for a 9-yard gain.
Fort Worth holding on here. They have had a sluggish second quarter offensively, and Minnesota threatening again. Picked up a late block. Hart's got a first down at the 22-yard line.
Really like what Minnesota is doing here in the last 2 drives. Finally, Colin Hart getting into it, and the thing is that Colin Hart is fresh completely. I mean, he's gotten the ball probably 5 times. So, a fresh Colin Hart against a tired Fort Worth defense.
Reno to throw. One-handed catch by Simons. Puts a glove on it and sticks it around the 4-yard line.
Wow. Everything is working here for Minnesota on this last couple of drives. A post route and just over the safety. A great catch and a really good throw as well by Johnny Reno.
1st and goal at the 6. High formation, handoff. Hart is pushing for the end zone. He's about a half-yard shy. 2nd and goal.
Now, what do? Do you give? I'm not sure if they have runs to Comisac. We haven't really seen any. But if they have one thrown in there, this will be a good time to give the ball to the big guy right up the middle.
This is the same look we had, or a similar look that we had on the goal line last go-around. Comisac and France off to the left. It worked with flying colors. This time they actually pitch it opposite direction, and it's a loss of 3 yards on the play. Minnesota flips the play to try and create some confusion for Fort Worth, but Browning not fooled.
Not at all, and I did like the play call. You go opposite side, kind of break tendencies, but really good job by Fort Worth, and it's a very tricky situation. 3rd goal from the 3, it's not easy to get. The field is very condensed. And you have to be very careful.
I formation. Taylor's at the top, but he has struggled here in the first half. Play fake. Reno sack back at the 10. Forwards defense stands tall. That sack from Luther Gond. And the play action bites Minnesota.
Yeah, they brought in 5 defensive players on the blitz. And even though it was about, technically it was 5-on-5. The backs released 4 passes. The forward defense does a really good job on making the tackle for a loss.
So 26-yard field goal for Minnesota, and Fort Worth will get 3 timeouts and about a minute and 25 seconds on the clock to work with just before the half. Something to break some tendency is Malillo's kick. That wind blowing to the left as we saw earlier. This time he wasn't able to aim right and nearly missed that chip shot, but 13-3 Minnesota.
That's good nonetheless. And Minnesota, again, has scored the last 13 points of this game. And Fort Worth, really on offense, has not proven to have many answers. Now with 1:24 left, let's see if they are aggressive and try to make it, again, a one-possession game, or just kind of sit on the ball and think of the second half.
Stevens on the return. Stiff arm 30, 35. Stevens puts Mickey into the ground. Cade Stevens down the sideline, lost the ball, but out of bounds at the 44-yard line. Cade Stevens gets Fort Worth excellent field position and embarrasses a kicker to boot.
Yeah, going from the right side all the way to the left side. Great stiff arm on that one. And then, make him a little great kicker, not a great tackler. And finally getting out of bounds. Thankfully, the ball was on his left hand, and that's exactly why you have the ball in your left hand. If the ball fumbles, it goes out of bounds. And that's exactly what Fort Worth needed. Now they can be aggressive and at least, try to get probably 25 yards and think about kicking a field goal.
A shot in the arm for the Toros. 13-3, 1:16 to go. All 3 timeouts. Dunhill's pass is tipped up in the air and incomplete. Looking for Hacker, but Johnny Bravo's been on him like a glove all night long. 2nd and 10, Dunhill struggling.
Yeah, not enough air on that one. Again, not a bad decision, but not enough air on the pass. And just kudos to this Minnesota defense. They have been absolutely incredible here in the second quarter.
1:12 left. Baker's going in motion. Bravo going to follow. So man coverage and 3 receivers now all to the short side of the field for Fort Worth with Bacon in the backfield. Dunhill to throw against a blitz. Dunhill, that direction, incomplete, deflected again. Cody Griffin. Man, this Minnesota defense.
Yeah. He jumped that route. It was very lucky for Fort Worth that wasn't a pick 6, actually.
They're doing it in a different way than Carolina last week, Ramos, where they're winning with coverage.
Mm-hmm. Right.
3rd and 10. Fort Worth has been in this situation all too often in this first half. They have not done much with it. Dime look. Roll out Dunhill. Dunhill fires, and the pass is not even close. Fort Worth is a mess in the first half.
Yeah, and you can see Dunhill looks really rattled here in the second quarter. Started off very sharp, but those incompletions kept piling on, and the hits and the coverages, the different types of coverages that Minnesota's throwing on them, and that pass was wide open. I'm not sure if that was going to be a first down, but either way, that was just off target.
You're seeing more realism in what I would call a bad night at this point, right, Ramos? I mean, Fort Worth has had a bad night on offense. They do not have a turnover. Dunhill just looks rattled. His passes are off the mark, and Minnesota's not allowed him to complete an easy pass all night.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And having a bad offensive night doesn't necessarily mean 7 interceptions or what have you. It's just being errant on your throws, not blocking particularly well, and dropping some passes.
Minnesota going to run it here as Colin Hart going to pick up 2. And, the Legend are just going to run this clock out. They got to feel pretty good about where they are in this first half.
Yeah, they have to. And the offense really the way this defense is playing, the offense doesn't really have to do much. Basically, I think that as long as they are clean on the turnover sheet, I think they have a really good chance to win this ball game.
Hand off, Hart. Hart's got some moves, puts a foot in the ground and picks up a first down, but Minnesota's still content.
For sure, and I think that was probably the last play here of the first half. Was a rush and circling all the way back to make the tackle. Good hustle. Yeah.
Browning, without that hustle, who knows? Hart may still be running.
Probably.
Final play of the half, unless Minnesota does something crazy with it. And Hart is going to be wrapped up in the backfield. That ends the first half of play. 13-3. Ugly half for Fort Worth's offense. Eager to see the adjustments that they can come up with in the second half. It was all legend after Fort Worth's first offensive drive was pretty great. They only got 3, and that's all they've gotten.
Yes. First drive, again, they were able to use the rollouts to great success. Stephen Hacker was getting really involved. And ever since then, Stephen Hacker has not done anything. Look at the numbers by Dunhill. And those 6 completions are probably all in the first quarter. I'm not sure if he completed a pass in the second quarter.
Yeah, 6 of 17. A really rough second quarter for Dunhill. Reno better, 15 of 22 for $143. Hart ends up with 10 carries in that first half. Simon's on his way to 100. 5 total sacks in this first half. No interceptions. Minnesota leads 13-3. Hart is your player of the half as the game's only touchdown score.
Also with 11 receiving yards. Very quiet first quarter for Hart. But eventually they were, getting him into the offense. And ended up with a decent stat line. Nothing that would blow your mind, but a really solid change of pace nonetheless.
Fire away, Jason. Minnesota will kick it away, and Fort Worth will at least start with the football to start the second half, and eager to see what they can put together here in the third quarter. From the 9-yard line, Baker on the return up to the 30. And think about Fort Worth had that tremendous kick return from Stevens, and to go 3 and out on 3 incompletions is brutal. Bacon, 4 carries in the first half. Got to get the run game going.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the passing is just not working. Maybe the run will, and it's not, too late. You're only down by 10 with the entire second half to go. Let's see what they do.
Dunhill trying to escape, brought down for the sack. Jason, we have longer replay transitions that we'll be putting in to overlay those ESPN things, so that's not a TV issue at all. Buster Johnson with another sack, his second.
Great spin move. First time we've seen plenty of quarterback takedowns, but this is the first time I see one of them go with a spin move. Very successful at that. And a 4-yard loss, and this Minnesota defense just keeps on coming in.
Fort Worth behind the sticks again. I mean, they have just had a horrible time on first down tonight. Cade Stevens goes in motion. Dunhill, second and long, and can't bring it in. That was Bacon out in the pass pattern, third and long again.
That was a great throw by Dunhill. His best pass since the first quarter. And, unfortunately, the running back just doesn't have the hands.
Fox kick returner will be up to the team as teams control their all their substitutions and their formations. There will be restrictions on who can be a kick returner or a punt returner, but other than that, it's up to the team. Third and long. Dunhill deep down the field, intercepted. Ball at midfield, picked off by Bravo. First turnover of the day, and Fort Worth has no answers.
Yeah, and at this point, it looked just like a matter of time, didn't it?
Stomp Indy.
Just looked like a beautiful coverage. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. Bravo gets inside position. follows him step by step. Easy interception.
Of all the exhibitions that we've seen, Ramos, this has probably been the most brutal in terms of Denver last week moved the ball all night and it just was bad luck. I mean, Fort Worth, they just have nothing here tonight, which is wild because that's not what we've seen all day. That pass is incomplete, deflected as Browning almost got an interception. Of course, it's intended for Taylor again. They've done a great job on Jay Taylor, just haven't been able to stop much else.
Yeah, no, I agree. And to your point, Denver last week, they were able to move the ball really well. It was just in the scoring situations they couldn't capitalize. Fort Worth cannot buy a first down.
Still in it, certainly. 13-3. 9:06 to go in the third quarter. Fort Worth's defense out there playing as good a football as they can, given the great field position that Minnesota's been in the last quarter and a half, as Reno's pass over the middle to France is hauled in for a 6-yard gain to set up a 3rd down and 4.
Yeah, and gets him into field goal range, which is very important here in this game. Now, obviously, Fort Worth, if they limit this possession to only a field goal, it's still a 2-touchdown game, and they're still very much in it, but Minnesota keeps on piling the points.
Reno, pump fake, but it's covered, and Reno takes off for the first down. Fort Worth had the flat all locked up, and Reno says, fine, I'll do it myself.
Yeah, but I really like how that freezes the linebackers. Look at number 58. He goes with a flat and vacates that position, and Reno takes it in for a first down.
Just when you thought Fort Worth could get a stop and get off the field, Minnesota continues their drive. Reno calling an audible. Hands it off to Hart. Look at the hole for Colin Hart. First down and more, all the way up to the 10-yard line. Best run of the night for Colin Hart, and he made it look easy.
Yeah, and this is just bodies getting moved. I mean, when you look at this replay, you look at the linebacker. It's not Comisak, it's actually number 67, the offensive lineman, just puts a linebacker on his back because this defense is completely gassed here in the third quarter.
Yeah, I mean, Fort Worth's defense has been on the field basically the last 15 minutes of game action. The Toros' offense, just horrific. Hand off to Hart. Hart past the 10. Hart drags a defender into the end zone. Noah Regier bruised by Colin Hart. And golly, aren't they cold? 19-3.
Great blocking on the outside, just making a guy miss and pushing a defender 5 yards to the end zone for a touchdown.
A miserable start for Fort Worth, and we've seen it now in back-to-back weeks. Playbooks still matter, Ramos. Minnesota doing a little work on theirs. Carolina doing a little bit of work on theirs. As Mickey's extra point is good despite the wind. And Minnesota making quick work of Fort Worth, who, as the road team, didn't necessarily put the stock into this game.
No, most definitely. It's been rough. I mean, it was such a promising start for the Toros, and Minnesota has just shut down everything Fort Worth has tried to do ever since.
Baker on the return, and I thought Baker was about to have another lane to run through. Gets it up to the 28-yard line. Man, what does Fort Worth do? You got to get just get Bacon going. Just get one first down. Get some momentum.
Yes. At this point is baby steps at least. Try to get a first down. Any which way possible.
Bacon and Alexander in the backfield. Dunhill throws, got it. First down, Charlie Baker, the 45-yard line. A beautiful ball from Marcus Dunhill, and he says it's about time.
Yeah, for sure. It's a corner route. Bravo has middle zone. The safety doesn't get on time, and it's a great job by Marcus Dunhill finding the opening.
Now, what can Fort Worth do with the momentum? 2 in the backfield, 3 receivers, 2 off the left. Dunhill straight back, fires, caught. Cade Stevens, pass a little bit inside, a touch dangerous, but it picks up 8.
Yeah. And again, if Fort Worth can score in this drive, this game is far from over. I mean, still a quarter and a half left. They do need a touchdown, though, in this possession, you will think.
Dunhill trying to improve on that 6 for 19, 1 interception start. He's got back-to-back completions, shifts the fullback, handoff to Bacon, and Jay-Z Bacon will drag a defender forward for a first down. Meerkat in the area, but Jay-Z doing his best Hart impression. Another first down for the Toros. What am I seeing here?
Yeah, and we haven't really seen J.C. Bacon being involved at all in this offense. Obviously, being down, 10, being down 13, being down, 17 points. You basically go with a pass from there, but I still think J.C. Bacon could be a target and could be a weapon here.
Hacker moves to the top of the screen as Dunhill facing a blitz, fires it to Hacker. Hacker past the 20, 15, 10. Meerkat chasing him, and Hacker reaches the 5.5-yard line. Marcus Dunhill's putting together a masterful drive here on the second of the third quarter for Fort Worth.
It's a really good job here by Marcus Dunhill, getting to the outside. Great route by Stephen Hacker. Flattens the route, which means that he goes horizontal to the sideline instead of still going upfield, and finds some space and gets some great yardage for a first and goal.
You see Hacker targeted 8 times, but just 3 catches tonight. This Minnesota secondary has been excellent. Again, the fullback is called to shift to the right. Last time they ran it with Bacon. Now they run a counter opposite direction, and Bacon gets outside. Bacon down to the 1-yard line. Really nice counter play from Fort Worth to mix things up.
Yeah, really good. We haven't seen anything like that out of the Toros, and finally this offense looks like it has some rhythm and some cohesion to it.
Ball's at the 1. 6 on the line, 10 in the box for Minnesota. 1-on-1 at the top of the screen. Hand it off, Bacon. Bacon is taken by the waist and pushed backwards, or pulled backwards, I should say, by Axel Raven. 3rd and goal. They gave him forward progress back to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, I mean, 3rd and goal. Man, maybe a pass to the flat to the fullback here. No.
Hand off, and Bacon is stuffed. What a goal line stand for Minnesota.
Ooh. I still think you kick the field goal here, make it a 2-possession game. But that has to be kind of heartbreaking here for Fort Worth to come away with only 3.
Another great drive for Fort Worth, and they just couldn't punch it in. But all the credit to Minnesota as that kick is good. That wind is whipping around. 8-play, 72-yard drive for Fort Worth gets it back to a 2-score game. But, man, another missed opportunity for the Toros.
Yeah, most definitely. Still, coming away with some points. 14-point game now. With still about a quarter and a half to go. Still plenty of time, but this Fort Worth defense desperately needs to stop. Yeah, definitely. I mean, if they came away with no points, then I think that would have been the dagger. From a game standpoint, being down 17 still, as well as a morale standpoint, that's pretty much the game over. Oh. Wow. Now your drip is good when Destro says something like that. That's when you know.
Apparently, I got muted somehow. Not really sure how that happened, but a $5 super chat from Destro, just tuning in. Stadium looks great. The box section stands out, and the detail with the fans and their gear is impressive.
3rd down and 8.
That button was all the way to the other side of the screen, or other side of my touchpad. I have no idea how that happened. 3rd and 8. This is Fort Worth's chance. They drop 8. Reno's got nowhere to go with the football. He's going to scramble. Reno tried to spin away, breaks a tackle, and then gone from behind. Caught up to him and stopped him from behind. What great effort from Luther Gond to force Minnesota on a punt.
Wow. Yeah, that's why you never give up on a play. You know, you would have think the quarterback would have been stopped right there on first contact, and you always have to hustle to the ball, and this is a massive stop for the Fort Worth defense.
So Fort Worth, fair catch called for at the 26. They're cooking up something here in this 3rd quarter. Long drive for the field goal. They have great coverage down the field. And Gond, one of the 3 players who had rushed Reno, able to get to him in the end, stop him short.
You know, really massive drive here for Fort Worth, you know, trying to get the momentum of the game back.
They've thrown on 1st down most of the night. They're going to do it again here, and that pass is incomplete, but our first flag of the evening is going to go on Minnesota. See if we can get another look at that. That was on Loveless. Spot foul.
Yep. Some Loveless. A little bit ticky-tack.
Ticky-tack, because I think that the officials thought that Loveless pushed him off his route, but it actually kind of looked like the receiver stumbled after Loveless made contact. Yeah, that's a questionable call there, but Fort Worth will take it. They need all the momentum they can get right now with 3:09 to go in the 3rd quarter. Man goes in motion. Dunhill straight back against a blitz, and one broken tackle away from a walk-in touchdown, but Hacker gets the 1st down, and for Dunhill being jittery in that 2nd quarter, he stood tall in the pocket that time.
Yeah, that he did. It was a couple of inside patterns. He had a choice to make, given Hacker or Robert Garrett Jr., who is the first time I mentioned him all game long. But now Stephen Hacker with 79 yards and 4 grabs.
Yeah, Robert Garrett Jr., super quiet. He's off the left of the line right now in the pass pattern. Dunhill fires it. That's caught inside the 40. And intense rhythm here from Fort Worth's passing game. Charlie Baker with the catch. Dunhill starting to figure this defense out.
Yeah, another blitz. And from his back foot, he threw that one. Really impressive throw here by Dunhill.
It's interesting, Ramos, to see the opposites of what a blitz can do and how a team can adjust to that blitz as well. We've seen both of those things happen with Fort Worth in this ball game.
Yep. Man-to-man coverage this time.
At the Minnesota 36, Dunhill looking around. Dunhill still looking, and Dunhill just too late. Needed to make an earlier decision. Sacked for a loss of 5 for the first time in a long time. Fort Worth behind the sticks.
Yeah. Minnesota coming with the very tight man-to-man coverage. Looked like 22-man, and the offensive line cannot hold up for that long.
2nd and 15 pushes Fort Worth further away from field goal range. Dunhill's pass caught by Hacker. That gets half of it back, so that'll set up a 3rd down and 7. Hacker's been really strong tonight. But more importantly for Fort Worth, can they have an opportunity at some points?
Yeah, they do. Let's see if they are at the, 33-yard line.
They need to get a
Let's
little
see if they
closer.
can get some positive yards, yeah.
3rd and 7. Dunhill, quick throw, pass incomplete. May have misread the coverage there. Cody Griffin, the target, and in no man's land for Fort Worth. I'd try to pin him inside the 5. See if you can get something good here.
Man, I'm not sure. Let's see. Well, that's what they're gonna do.
What does a field goal do for you? Down 14. It's 7 to go in the 3rd quarter, right?
Yeah, I guess so. If it was a little bit close, oh, that's a horrible punt.
The punt is it's not too bad, but not what they were looking for. Mam calls for a fair catch at the 14-yard line, so that's a net punt of 19. Ramos, your thoughts on the field goal situation?
Well, if the win, apparently the win was against them, right? Especially on that punt, you can really tell.
Yeah.
If the win was in your favor, I would have kicked the field goal, because making it an 11-point game is a touchdown, 2-point conversion, and a field goal. So, but the win was against them, so the punt is not the worst idea.
Oh, missed block, and Colin Hart's going backwards for the first time tonight. That's a 3-yard loss as Minnesota can't execute that. So see that? I mean, that's why you try to pin him deep. You've been losing field position this whole game.
Yeah. Certainly.
2nd and 13 back at the 11 now. But the strategy only works if they can get off the field. Fort Worth bringing a blitz, but it was, wow. It was actually a delayed blitz, but pretty good coverage on the back end. Surprisingly, Simons was the intended target. We'll set up a 3rd and long.
Yeah, and Fort Worth cannot allow Minnesota to convert this. I mean, that will be just a morale crusher. Absolutely. So they need to bring in some pressure. They have 4 receivers from the shotgun this time.
It's a different look for Minnesota's offense. Jay Taylor's in the slot. He is still really struggling to get going. 3-down lineman for Fort Worth, and the linebackers are backed off. Fort Worth again is going to drop 8. Reno fires it down the field, intercepted at the 25-yard line, and returned up to the 19. Check that 18-yard line. And Fort Worth finally gets a stand, and they have great field position.
Yeah, that's a really bad decision right there. Oh, it got picked by his own receiver. That's what happened. It's still, a very risky situation. Winning by 14 points. You cannot take those risks. Now Fort Worth is in possession to at least get a field goal out of this.
Matt Keeler, appreciate your compliments in the chat. Enjoy the game, bud. We certainly are. Fort Worth trying their best to make this a game, but the end zone has been a mystery to them. That pass is tipped up in the air and incomplete. Looking for Robert Garrett Jr. Meerkat was in the area, and it'll bring up 2nd and 10.
That was cover 0, actually. So it's man-to-man coverage across the board, and everybody else blitzes. Not a bad decision. I mean, 1-on-1 with your star tight end, but a great job by Meerkat.
It feels like the Bermuda Triangle, this end zone for Fort Worth. This is their 3rd opportunity of the quarter. That pass is hauled in, one-handed by Stevens. 1st and goal at the 7.
Beautiful grab. Great decision right there by Dunhill. A good pass. And an even much better grab.
And this
another look at this one.
This is where situation mode comes into play, Ramos, because if you're a team watching this game in an SFL regular season and you're saying, man, we are just really struggling inside the 10-yard line, you can sim that over and over and over again as Dunhill is slowly building himself up to a 50% night after that really rough 2nd quarter. Toss play out to Bacon. Bacon inside the 5. Bacon foot race to the pylon, and he got in. Touchdown, Fort Worth. B.J. Lovelace wasn't going to stop him, And Bacon scores. We have a 7-point game.
Out of nowhere. I mean, this game was a blowout just a few minutes ago. And now Fort Worth has the momentum of the game, and they get within 7 before the third quarter even ends. As that's a great job by Bacon. Just staying patient, going to the outside, and making the linebacker race into the pylon.
I love that.
J.C. Bacon is going to win that battle most of the time.
I love that Bacon just makes the decision there that, all I got to do is get to the sticks. What do I need to cut inside and try to, use muscle for? I got the speed advantage, and I'm going to go score. Fort Worth takes advantage of the short field, which they haven't had much of tonight. And just before the end of the third quarter, Fort Worth makes it a 7-point game.
Yeah.
That was really smart, Ramos. That just running to the pylon.
Yeah, exactly. And now Minnesota looks like they are in a little bit of a bind here because now the pressure is on them.
Pretty nice return there to the 31. That ends the third quarter of play. And it's a totally different game than it was at the end of the half. It was 13-3 then. It was 20-3 at one point here in this third quarter, but it's now 20-13. That's the end of the third quarter. You're watching SFL 4K 23 exhibition. You see the first National Bank there of St. Paul in the background. Beautiful Northwood Stadium. All done up for tonight's event. It's a chilly one, 30 degrees out here. 9-mile-an-hour wind gusting to 18. Malillo almost missed a field goal earlier in the game. France is wide open. France has to hurdle a defender and tried to reverse his field, but only is going to end up with 2 on the play. Vincent there on the stop.
Yeah. And, as Minnesota just a 2-yard pickup. Fort Worth really has the upper hand right now on defense. Going to be an I formation. I think Minnesota has to run the ball at least once here. Get some balance and keep the clock ticking a little bit.
Reno changing the play. Sends France in motion. And off to Hart. There's your run. Man, this offensive line is just creating massive holes up front. A 6.5-yard pickup for Hart.
Yeah, because Fort Worth has to plan, pretty much pass first. And you will put some, pass rushing stunts and some pass rushing and pass coveraging defenses. And the run is going to be open.
With 3 down linemen against 7 up front. You figure the advantage is Minnesota's every time. They flip it out to Hart. Hart has a first down. What a spin move past midfield. And Hart is blown up at the 45-yard line, but not before he has a big gain for Minnesota's offense.
And I love how Jason France was spread out wide on the motion because that creates an edge. That creates leverage. Late to get to the safety, but still, Jason France was able to make the first block, and that was the most important one.
16 carries, 83 yards, 5.2 average. Pretty numbers there from Hart. Taylor goes in motion. Davis follows him over there. 8:16 to go. Fort Worth needs one more stop to make things truly interesting. And Colin Hart going backwards again, but Hart does everything in his power, and he still pulls out 1 yard on the play. J.L. Browning was harassing Reno in the backfield.
Really good job by the defensive tackle, that was number 60, because he actually avoided a defender and kind of circled back and just kept pursuing the running back, and that's what made this only a 1 yard gain instead of a probably 5 or 10 yard gain.
2nd and 9, Reno going to throw. Reno goes underneath to Adam Banks, who picks up 3. Those underneath routes have been open for Minnesota much of the night. Sets up a critical 3rd and 6. Seeing a lot of 3-4 out of Fort Worth tonight. Gets us a chance to look at that defense.
Vincent active, 6 tackles so far in this game. 4 wide receivers now, 3rd and 6.
7:22 to go in the 4th. bringing a blitz from the outside. It's picked up. Reno throws that direction, and the pass is dropped off the hands of Jay Taylor. Man, Taylor is really struggling. He's going to hate me for this exhibition. I swear. I swear I didn't see it all day. Minnesota going to have to punt it away.
That's a crushing drop right there. Good job by the defender because he didn't make a hit on the receiver, but that's a crushing missed opportunity for Minnesota.
Punting in the same direction against the wind that Fort Worth has had it, and actually a little bit of a bobble there. Gives us a live play, but Fort Worth is going to get the ball on the 18-yard line with a chance to go and tie the game after they were down 20-3 and hadn't gotten a first down in, I think, maybe 4 possessions, Ramos.
Yeah, most definitely.
Ashley Jackson digging the banners in the background. That's all Axel. That's all the teams. All customizable. So Dunhill against a blitz. Fires down the field. Caught. Robert Garrett Jr. I am in awe, Ramos, as to how Marcus Dunhill has figured out this blitz in the second half.
Yes, absolutely. He has to get rid of it in a rush. One-on-one coverage, but good coverage. But an even better throw to Robert Gary Jr.
Fort Worth at their own 37, making things interesting here in this 4K23 exhibition. Minnesota brings 5. Dunhill, incomplete. Perfect hit by Meerkat.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful play by the safety. I mean, I like the decision between the corner and the safety, but an even better job by the defensive back.
2 in the backfield. They have really gone away from Bacon, surprisingly, in this second half. But for most of the game, Dunhill rolling out. First time in a while we've seen that. And that pass is hauled in. Oh, my goodness. Kane Stevens. He put his hand out there and hauled it in.
And we really haven't seen the rollout pretty much at all here in the second half. And they come back to it. And that's a beautiful grab.
First down, Toros in Minnesota territory. Yeah, I mean, they went away from it, rightfully so, but went back to it in a key spot, pulled in a first down. Dunhill, 3 steps, goes underneath. That's Hacker, picks up 6. 6:06 to go.
Yeah. Really like what Fort Worth is doing right there. And Marcus Dunhill, man, it's a 180 from what we saw at the end of the first half. He's pretty much outplaying Reno for sure here in the second half.
And he started the third quarter with an interception. And so you're thinking, oh, gosh, it's over. But not so fast. Dunhill passing again. He is red hot right now. And Robert Garrett Jr. took out his frustration on Johnny Bravo. After that deflected pass, a huge 3rd and 4 coming up.
Wow. Very important 3rd down and 4. Not anywhere near field goal range. I mean, not that it matters much. I mean, you need a touchdown, but still. Balanced formation.
3-3 out of Minnesota. Baker goes in motion. Ball on the Minnesota 41, still outside of field goal range. 5:44 to go. Dunhill on a 3rd down and 4. Minnesota drops 8. Dunhill hit from behind on a 3-man rush, 4th down.
Oh. I like the motion. You put a guy outside on the left side and, make it come across. If he had just one more second to throw the ball, that's probably a completion for a first down. A great rush by the Legend defense.
Now, Fort Worth is going, I believe they have their wind at the back here in the 4th quarter, but he tried to angle it, and actually Minnesota ends up letting it bounce, and it's going to get a Fort Worth roll all the way down to the 13. The punt was hung up in the air so high, the returner had to let it go, and Fort Worth actually kind of catches a break there.
Yeah, most definitely. Now Minnesota, wow, in a tricky situation because last time out they were in this kind of position. They threw an interception.
Fort Worth's defense is, yeah.
Yeah, that will be the worst case scenario to throw a pick here.
Fort Worth's defense is humming. Hart Hart picks up a block, and Dunhill's pass is caught. Jay Taylor, first down to the 32-yard line. Hart pancaked a dude right at the beginning of that play.
That he did, and the 9th time's the charm here for Taylor finally getting a catch. And that's a great route going to the sideline. Great throw by Reno. And just getting some fresh air right now, Minnesota getting past the 20 to the 30-yard line.
Reno 19 of 31. Hart has both touchdowns, so not a touchdown on the board. But about 65% completion tonight as Hart has a lot of space on the outside. And did he get the first down? Oh, it was close.
Probably worth challenging here for Fort Worth. Great blocking on the outside. Get the seal edge, or the edge seal rather.
Ooh, he stepped out.
Yeah, I will challenge it. I think Minnesota should have a second and about 2.5.
Wow. I mean, timeouts are precious, down 7.
Yeah.
Maybe they want to live to fight another day, figure 2nd and 2. Hart's running so well. Probably going to get it anyway, but boy, that's a tough decision to make as a head coach. Hart that's a generous 2. Ben Stone with the stop, 2nd and 8. The clock now becoming Fort Worth's biggest enemy.
Definitely. Right now Minnesota, if they get a first down, now Fort Worth is going to be in a situation where they will probably be forced to start calling those timeouts.
19 carries, 95 yards, but only 38 yards after contact. That shows the offensive line's been putting in work tonight as Reno's going down the field. That pass is caught by France, and France down to the Fort Worth 37-yard line. This is absolutely what the Toros did not need.
No, nothing like that. And this is a great drive so far by Minnesota, starting out at their own 13-yard line, getting it all the way to the 36 of Fort Worth side of the field. They can start really milking the clock, and if they get about 5-7 more yards, they will be in field goal range as well.
France 6 targets, 6 catches tonight. Taylor's at the bottom of the screen, under 4 to go. Fort Worth still down 7. They bring a linebacker blitz. Hart runs away from it, and Hart drags Browning for a 7-yard pickup. Brings up 2nd and 3. Maybe there's just not enough in the tank for this Toro team.
Maybe so. Especially, Minnesota has driven the ball, what is it now, 37 and 20, about 58 yards on this drive. And the defense has to be gassed.
Hart over 100. They're mixing in the pass, Ramos, but they've definitely gone to a more run-centric approach here, trying to put the game away up 7.
Mm-hmm.
Hand off Hart, and Hart's got a first down. Fort Worth just has no answers up front. And unless Minnesota makes a terrible gaffe in the next 3 minutes, they're going to put this one away.
Yeah, no answer and no gas. No more stamina left. They're completely exhausted at this point. If you're Minnesota, I will think just keep running the ball. I will not throw the ball again with Reno. Even though that's your offense, I think you will run it at least here to get it to the 2-minute warning and right after the 2-minute warning.
At this point, you're in comfortable field goal range, although it is blustery tonight. But, no need to take chances. Both ball carriers have taken care of the football well tonight as Hart will get outside. Look at Colin Hart. 9-yard gain keeps the clock moving. Fort Worth, poor tackling.
Yes. And it comes again to the fatigue part. Once you're fatigued, you're not going to be able to wrap up and make those tackles. Chris Comisac with a good block on Aiden Davis.
Nice angle.
Yeah. And then Colin Hart close from getting the first down marker.
Fox talking about the you know, we've seen some halfbacks doing some damage in the passing game in previous weeks. Not tonight. Both teams have kept the ball going down the field. Hart, solid, 120 yards on 22 carries. We've hit the 2-minute warning. Fort Worth still has 3 timeouts. But, man, they are in trouble. Minnesota up 7, trying to put this thing away.
Yeah, there's no way you pass the ball here in this situation. You know, coming out of the 2-minute warning, you got to keep the clock moving. You got to force Fort Worth to call all those 3 timeouts. And you're just about half a yard away from a first down.
Handoff, Hart, got a first down. And if I'm Fort Worth, I may think about just letting them score here.
Perhaps.
Because a field goal makes it a 2-score game anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But this is a masterful drive here for Minnesota, man. I mean, they've driven the ball, what is it now, 81 yards on this drive alone.
Yeah,
that's exactly what wins you ball games.
And they got the ball with just a little over 5 minutes to go, and they have not given it up, making Fort Worth pay for that decision to punt. Pretty good punt down to the 12. Hart can't go out of bounds, and Hart is shoved out of bounds, although he did try to spin back inside. Fort Worth pushes him out and does their job and saves the timeout.
Yeah. Yeah, not great by Colin Hart. As you said, he did try to spin inside, but a good job of recognizing by Fort Worth and shoving him out of bounds.
2nd and goal at the 3. 2 timeouts left for the Toros. Handoff, Hart, and he dives into the end zone for the score. 26-13. Minnesota back up 2 touchdowns. Once again, cheerleaders doing things I can't do.
And that's an 87-yard drive, spanning about 3.5 minutes in length. And Colin Hart diving in for the touchdown.
Why wouldn't he celebrate? All 3 touchdowns tonight for Minnesota go to Colin Hart. So, Fort Worth, honestly, not the end of the world. As Mickey's extra point, it is shifted left dramatically from the win. 10-play, 89-yard drive, 3 minutes, 42 seconds. That is an average of 9 yards per play on that drive, Ramos. And it really did look like Fort Worth just, I mean, what else do you want their defense to do?
No, absolutely. And it's, you know, Minnesota had an incredible second quarter, even start of the third quarter. And then Fort Worth really gained the momentum of the game. You know, at one point, the game was 20-3, and then was 20-13. And Minnesota, with an exclamation point, puts it 27-13.
But
Good return here.
But you love what Minnesota did on that last drive. It
was incredible.
Yeah, they've been mostly on the been mostly through the air with Reno. I think they threw, how many times they threw on that drive? Twice, 3 times, but most of it was Hart.
Yes. And it's a sign of a well-coached team, you know, that kind of situational football, you know, again, going back to the situation mode, as you said, you know, going back and really testing so you can perfect your offense.
This 4-wide formation has really killed Fort Worth all night. It'll set up a 2nd and 10. That pass is incomplete.
Mm-hmm. At least stops the clock, though. That's the silver lining. But, you know, Fort Worth really needs a huge play here on offense. They need to score here in the next probably half a minute for them to have kind of like an outside chance still, but still a chance.
I can't wait, Ramos, to see what teams do with this situation. That's a different play there. That's Stevens. Caught for a first down to the 33. Fort Worth will burn a timeout. I believe they have 1 left now. But I was going to say, I can't wait, Ramos, until we get these teams in these 2-minute situationals, you know, to see what they can accomplish. As Dunhill sacked 4 times, still trying to push 50%. It's been a rough night for him.
Yeah.
Dunhill had extra time, but nobody really open. Pressure at his feet. Good coverage on the back end, which we've seen much of the night. Cody Griffin in coverage, 2nd and 10.
Yeah, and I really like how Minnesota is putting pressure on the quarterback without compromising the back end. Sometimes we see blitzing and stuff like that, and then the back end is completely wide open with big gaps. That's not been the case here for the Legend tonight.
2nd and 10 for Dunhill. Pass knocked up in the air and incomplete. Actually deflected by, I think, a diving defender. 3rd and 10.
So, pretty wacky play. 3rd down and 10. Obviously, 4th down territory here.
At least we saw the ball stay on the screen.
Yeah. At least here in this situation, at least get half the yardage. Make it a 4th and 5, 4th and 4. Make it manageable.
3rd and 10 for Fort Worth on their last legs. Been playing from behind all night long outside of the first drive. Little dump off to Hacker. That does get some of the yards back. That is Fort Worth's last time out. They use it to regroup here on 4th down.
Yeah, not a horrible play call. It's just not the best execution. You do want to get the catch short and try to get yards after the catch. Maybe get about 7 or 8 yards on that one, but a good pursuit by the Minnesota defense.
4th and 7. No timeouts for Fort Worth. They need a first down. Minnesota brings a linebacker blitz. That pass is knocked away and incomplete. And
Beautiful
Minnesota
coverage.
can take some knees.
Beautiful coverage here by Derek Meerkat. We've seen a lot of Derek Meerkat with great coverage deep down the field. I mean, Stevens was pretty open, but great recovery by the safety. And Minnesota really with a very clean game overall.
So Minnesota's going to get the win 27-13. Fort Worth losing a lot of steam with a really bad second quarter. And you take that second quarter away, it was a pretty even football game, but that combined with some red zone woes and really a lack of diversity on 3rd down really did them in tonight. Yeah,
whenever it got to 3rd and 8+, Fort Worth just really couldn't convert for the most part. And that really ended up destroying them because for the most part, again, they were in those 3rd down and longs. We didn't see a lot of 3rd and 3s, 3rd and 2s from Fort Worth. It was mostly 3rd and 8s, 3rd and 11s. And Minnesota really set the pace and controlled the game.
And they were a one-dimensional offense, too, tonight because they really, not only did they not give Bacon carries, but they also didn't get him involved in the pass game either. And it was really all on Dunhill. He started to figure some things out in the second half, but they had basically exhausted all of their advantages by the time that they punted the ball with about 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, and that was about it.
Yeah.
Regular Joe in the chat. It's crazy that this thing is still a thing. I think about that sometimes. My entire adult life been here on this channel. It's a wonderful thing. Minnesota gets the win, 27-13. And we'll get a look at stats here at the end of this one as the coaches shake hands. Interesting game tonight, Ramos. Let's look at the team stats first. Tough night for Fort Worth, 248 yards. It's crazy. They averaged 4.8 yards a carry. They just didn't run.
Yeah.
And the passing game suffered. Minnesota also 4.8 yards per carry on the ground tonight, but were more efficient, 324 yards, 18 first downs.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I think it's the efficiency out of Minnesota on running and passing. Every time Minnesota ran the ball, apparently Colin Hart was breaking tackles. It was for big gains. And just Fort Worth surprisingly didn't do more of that, especially in the first half.
2 for 12 on third down. Minnesota worked on their book. Fort Worth did not. And, you saw Fort Worth kind of in those situations of third down, situations of red zone, didn't have a lot of diversity there, and it really hurt them tonight. And I think a lack of diversity is going to hurt a lot of teams in moving forward, because you really do, you really can provide a lot of different ways for, I guess, adaptability, I would say. And Fort Worth did not have that tonight. 53 total plays, 66 for Minnesota, but only 9 rushing plays for Fort Worth. That really hurt them.
Yeah, it did. I mean, you cannot expect to win many games with 44-9 pass-to-run ratio. That's just not going to happen.
Lost time of possession, too, 23-17. Some player stats. Neither quarterback played particularly terrific tonight like Matt South did last week. But that was mostly due to the lack of passing touchdowns. All 3 went to Colin Hart, but Reno finishes with 193, 63% completion. Dunhill with 224, and a combined 7 sacks tonight. These defenses got after these quarterbacks. On the ground, Hart, 25 of 132, 5.3 average. Johnny Reno, 6 carries for 18 yards. Pretty nice night for Reno on the ground. Bacon, 9 for 43, and Dunhill just couldn't get it going. Passing game, Hacker, 7 of 94. He was great. Brandt, 6 for 45. Simons, 5 for 54. All pretty solid numbers across the board.
Yeah, definitely. And I would have liked to see, I would like to see Robert Garrett Jr. involved more in the first half as well.
Yeah, 6 different receivers of over 40 yards in this game, but Garrett Jr. just the one catch for 19 yards there towards the end. And, just couldn't make it happen. Ben Stone leads all players with 8 tackles. Buster Johnson, 2.5 sacks tonight. Meerkat had a sack. And then Mello with a half. It was mostly defensive line pressure getting after it. Minnesota won both line plays, and the kickers didn't have to attempt any super long field goals in the wind. Just the long of 36 for Malillo, which he curved in nicely. That's a wrap. 27-13, Minnesota over Fort Worth. Final thoughts, Ramos, before we hit the road and get ready for next week?
Yeah, well, good game. I mean, it's a an experience for also coaches to catch a couple plays that they may like on this exhibition matchups, and it's gonna be interesting. You cannot just do one thing over and over again and expect many success. You have to do many things well, and Minnesota did run, pass rush, coverage extremely well.
Next week, we head to the Nemisphere, Tulsa at Seattle. Back inside comfy confines for next Thursday's broadcast. It'll be a great look to get of the Nemesis and Desperados. So until then, for Ramos, I'm Cam. Have a great night, everybody, and we'll see you for SFL Week 9 action this weekend starting tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern.